Right now, OpenAI is closing in on the first phase of a $100 billion deal that could bring the company's worth to more than $850 billion. This is according to multiple reports. But those investments aren't necessarily a sign of OpenAI's strength. The maker of ChatGPT now expects to burn through, take a look at that number, nearly $230 billion through 2029. That is nearly twice as much as it previously predicted. CBS News has reached out to OpenAI for comment, but we've not yet heard back. Ian Krietzberg has been reporting on this. He's an AI correspondent for Puck. As you should know by now, he joins us from time to time to give us a bit of insight into this industry. Ian, good morning. Always great to see you. Help us understand why these numbers are so large in the first place and the risk it creates for a company that essentially needs to make that money back now.
Right. So the risk that we're talking about here essentially is that the bet doesn't pan out. The question is, how long might it take for us to realize if the bet is not panning out? How patient are investors? What are investors looking for? And how concentrated is that risk? And so the reality, right, is that there is a scale of capital infusion here that if you go back through OpenAI's fundraising and Anthropic's fundraising as well over the past few years, starting in 2023, that doesn't seem sustainable. And this is what I wrote about recently, right? So in 2023, OpenAI raises $10-ish billion. 2024, they double it to 20. 2025, they did the big $40 billion raise plus a few billion here and there. So each year it's doubling. They're raising billions of dollars every couple of months. And now we're talking about a $100 billion plus round in 2026. And this regularity of capital infusions, and Anthropic is kind of the same story, but at a slightly smaller scale. It's a regularity of capital infusions that investors have to keep, being interested in providing, right? Especially for a company, as you mentioned, that is burning the amount of money that this company is burning. And, it's all, and this is tied into the story with NVIDIA and the whole AI boom that's happening, which is, and this is the trouble with it and the risk of essentially narrative underwriting, right? Where there's a lot of uncertainty. And as long as AI is this future state where it will become something, that's the bet. Until it's defined, we don't know what it will become. And so you can apply any sort of value to it. The risk is that sentiment can collapse very quickly when AI becomes a defined present state.
And so, Ian, I just want to jump in and ask you, Anthropic has its product Claude. OpenAI may now start to include ads in its free version. I'm guessing that's to address some of this risk that you're mentioning. But what do you see as the next step here? Because this company's burning a lot of cash, and it will have to put up for what this cash spend has been here in the short term.
Yeah, I mean, the advertising in ChatGPT was not a surprise, right? They're dealing at such a scale of spending requirements that they need to start making their money back, as you pointed out. And so they're going to start introducing advertising. The trouble is that advertising with AI is kind of a difficult thing. It doesn't seem as straightforward as we've seen in other applications like social media, right? So Claude, for instance, right, Anthropic has said they're not going to do advertising. There's a huge trust metric with users of these chatbots, and a bunch of companies are really wary of sacrificing that trust. Perplexity is another one who tested ads in 2024. They were the first one, and now they're saying, we don't want to do that anymore. We're going to walk it back. So OpenAI is kind of the only one that's really pushing into this. Is advertising the clearest way for them to maybe have a shot at turning a profit? I think so, yes. It's a different and much more difficult type of business than enterprise AI, and just, a lot less clear about how sustainable it is in the long term for them to get, the revenue numbers that they're looking for.
Yeah, and these numbers are just remarkable. Ian, great to chat with you. Thanks for being with us this morning.